Hello, my best students, and welcome back to Learn English with Clara. My name is Clara, and today we're going to do something very practical. We're going to the gym. But don't worry, I'm not going to make you do 50 push-ups. Today, we're going to train something different, your English. Because imagine this, you walk into a gym where people speak English. You want to ask someone if they're using a machine. You need to ask how many sets they have left. Someone asks you to help them. A person starts a friendly conversation with you. Or maybe you simply want to know how to speak naturally without sounding rude, uncomfortable, or too formal. What do you say? That's exactly what we're going to learn today. This lesson is not about the psychology of exercise. It's not a general discussion about why people go to the gym. This is a practical English communication lesson. We're going to learn the real words, questions, expressions, and conversations you can use when you're actually at the gym. You'll learn how to ask, "Are you using this? How many sets do you have left? Can I work in with you? Could you spot me?" And if you don't understand these expressions yet, don't worry. By the end of this lesson, you will. We'll also talk about something many English learners find difficult, starting conversations. Because the gym can be a strange social environment. People are exercising. Some are wearing headphones. Some are focused on their workouts. And you don't want to disturb anyone. So, how do you know when it's okay to speak? How can you start a friendly conversation naturally? What can you say when someone starts talking to you? How do you ask for help? And how do you end a conversation politely when you want to continue your workout? We're going to practice all of that. And I want you to imagine that you're really inside the gym with me. You'll hear natural situations, short conversations, useful vocabulary, common expressions, and simple mistakes that English learners should avoid. Most importantly, I want you to remember something. You don't need advanced English to communicate successfully at the gym. In fact, many of the most useful expressions are short and simple. The challenge is knowing which expression to use and having enough confidence to say it. So stay with me until the end, because by the time we finish this lesson, you'll know how to enter a gym, ask about equipment, talk to other people, request help, make small talk, and handle common gym conversations naturally in English. And while you're learning, pay attention to the expressions you could actually use in real life. Don't only listen, repeat them. Imagine the situation. Practice your answer, because that's how English becomes part of your communication, instead of remaining something you only understand in a textbook. All right, my best students, are you ready? Let's start our English workout. And I promise, this one won't make your muscles hurt. Lesson number 1. Asking about gym equipment. You walk into the gym. You finish your warm-up. Now you're ready to exercise. You walk toward the machine you want to use, but someone is standing next to it. There's a water bottle on the floor. A towel is hanging on the machine, and you aren't sure if the person is still using it. What should you say? This is one of the most common situations you'll experience at the gym. And fortunately, the English you need is very simple. You can ask, "Excuse me, are you using this?" That's probably the most useful question you can learn for the gym. Notice that you don't need to say, "Excuse me, are you currently exercising with this machine?" That's grammatically correct, but nobody talks like that. Keep it natural. "Are you using this?" Now imagine the person says, "No, I'm done. You can use it." You can simply respond, "Thanks," or "Great, thank you." But what if they're still using the machine? They might say, "Yeah, I am. I'm still using it." Or, "I've got a few sets left." The expression, "I've got a few sets left," means the person hasn't finished exercising yet. So now you want to know how long you'll need to wait. You can ask, how many sets do you have left? Let's hear a natural conversation. Excuse me, are you using this? Yeah, I am. No problem. How many sets do you have left? Just 2. Okay, thanks. Simple, polite, natural. But maybe you don't want to wait. In many gyms, 2 people can share the same machine and exercise between each other's sets. In English, you can ask, can I work in with you? The expression work in means taking turns using the same equipment. For example, how many sets do you have left? About 5. Would you mind if I worked in with you? Sure, no problem. Now you're sharing the machine. Here's another common situation. Someone is sitting on a machine, but they're looking at their phone. You're not sure if they're exercising or simply resting. Don't say, are you finished? That can sometimes sound impatient. Instead, say, excuse me, are you still using this? The word still makes your question sound more natural in this situation. Now let's talk about weights. Imagine you need a pair of dumbbells, but they're beside another person. You can ask, are you using these? Notice the difference. 1 machine? Are you using this? 2 dumbbells? Are you using these? The person may answer, no, go ahead. Go ahead is an extremely useful expression. Here, it means you have permission to use them. You might also hear, all yours. That doesn't mean the person is giving you the dumbbells forever. It simply means, I'm finished. You can use them now. Here's another conversation. Hey, are you using these dumbbells? No, all yours. Thanks. No problem. That's exactly how short many real gym conversations are. Now, imagine someone asks you, how many sets do you have left? You have 1 set remaining. You can answer, just 1 more, or this is my last set. If you're finished, say, I'm done. I'm finished with it. Or simply, it's all yours. These short expressions are worth practicing because you can use them almost every time you visit a gym. Let's review them naturally. Are you using this? Are you still using this? How many sets do you have left? Can I work in with you? Go ahead. All yours. Just 1 more. This is my last set. I'm done. Now, here's one mistake English learners sometimes make. They translate directly from their native language and ask, how many exercises do you have? But if you want to know how much longer someone will use the equipment, ask, how many sets do you have left? That's the natural question. And remember, you don't need a long conversation. A simple question can solve the situation. Speak clearly. Be polite. Use excuse me when you need someone's attention. And don't be afraid of short answers. At the gym, people are often focused on exercising, so a short conversation isn't rude. It's normal. The next time you enter a gym where people speak English, you'll know exactly what to say when you need a machine, some weights, or want to share equipment. And that's your first step toward communicating naturally at the gym. Lesson number 2, asking for help at the gym. You're training at the gym. Everything is going well. Then you reach an exercise where you need some help. Maybe you're lifting a challenging weight. Maybe you don't know how to adjust a machine. Or perhaps you simply need someone to show you where something is. What do you say? One of the most common gym expressions is, could you spot me? A spotter is someone who stays close while another person performs certain exercises and is ready to help if needed. So when you ask, could you spot me? You're asking someone to help you perform your set safely. You can also say, can you give me a spot? Both expressions are natural. Let's hear a short conversation. Excuse me, could you spot me? Sure. How many reps are you going for? About 8. Okay, let me know if you need help. Thanks, I appreciate it. Notice the question, how many reps are you going for? A rep is one repetition of an exercise. If you lift a weight 10 times, you've completed 10 reps. The person may also ask, do you want help with the lift-off? This means they want to know if you need help moving the weight into the starting position. You can answer, yes, please, or no, I've got it. I've got it means you can handle it yourself. Now, imagine you're using a machine you've never seen before. Instead of standing there and pressing random buttons, you can ask someone, excuse me, do you know how to adjust this? They might say, yeah, pull this lever and move the seat forward. You can respond, got it, thanks. Got it is a very common way to say that you understand. You could also ask, could you show me how this machine works? Now be careful. There's a difference between asking someone for quick help and asking them to become your personal trainer for 30 minutes. Keep your request simple and respectful. For example, sorry to bother you. Do you know how to lower this seat? Yeah, just pull that handle. Oh, I see. Thanks a lot. No problem. Natural, quick, polite. Here's another useful situation. You can't find a piece of equipment. You can ask, excuse me, do you know where the resistance bands are? Or, do you know where I can find a foam roller? If you're speaking to a gym employee, you could say, hi, could you help me find the locker room? Sure, it's down the hall on your right. Thank you. Now imagine someone asks you for help. Hey, could you spot me? If you can help, say, sure, of course, or yeah, no problem. If you're not comfortable helping, especially with an exercise you don't know how to spot safely, don't pretend that you are. You can simply say, sorry, I'm not sure how to spot this exercise. That's much better than saying yes when you don't know what you're doing. Here's another expression you may hear. Can you check my form? Your form means the way you position and move your body while performing an exercise. Someone might ask, does my form look okay? If you're knowledgeable enough to answer, you might say, it looks good to me. But if you aren't sure, say, I'm not really sure, you might want to ask a trainer. That's a useful lesson in communication. You don't always need to have the answer. Sometimes the most natural response is simply admitting that you don't know. So remember these useful expressions. Could you spot me? Can you give me a spot? How many reps are you going for? I've got it. Could you show me how this works? Do you know how to adjust this? Do you know where I can find this? Can you check my form? These are practical expressions you can actually use. And here's the most important thing. Asking for help doesn't require perfect English. Be clear, be polite, explain what you need, and listen carefully to the answer. Because real communication isn't about creating perfect sentences. It's about successfully handling the situation in front of you. Lesson number 3. Starting friendly conversations and making small talk at the gym. You're resting between sets. Someone is exercising near you. You've seen this person at the gym several times before, but you've never spoken. Maybe you want to say something, but what? Starting a conversation at the gym can feel difficult because you don't want to interrupt someone's workout. So the first thing you need to understand is timing. Don't approach someone in the middle of an exercise. Don't start a long conversation when someone is clearly focused. A better moment is when they're resting between sets, getting water, or leaving the training area. Now, how can you begin? One of the easiest ways is to talk about the situation you're both in. You could say, busy today, isn't it? Or, it's really crowded tonight. The person might answer, yeah, I usually come earlier. Now you have something to continue with. Is it quieter in the morning? Definitely, much quieter. Maybe I should start coming earlier too. That's small talk. Simple, natural, and connected to the situation. Here's another common way to start. Hey, I see you here pretty often. Do you usually train at this time? The person might say, yeah, usually after work. You can respond, same here. It's the only time I can fit it in. Notice the expression, fit it in. It means finding enough time for something in your schedule. For example, I'm really busy, but I try to fit in 3 workouts a week. Now imagine you've noticed someone doing an interesting exercise. You could ask, hey, what exercise is that? They might answer, it's a variation of a shoulder press. You can say, nice, I've never tried that before. But be careful with compliments. If you're talking to someone you don't know, keep them respectful and related to training. For example, your technique is really good. You've made a lot of progress. That's an impressive lift. These are much more appropriate than making personal comments about someone's body. Now let's hear another conversation. Hey, that's an impressive lift. Thanks, I've been working on it for a while. How long have you been training? About 3 years. Nice. I've only been training for 6 months. Keep going, you'll get there. This conversation started with one simple comment. Now, let's talk about one of the most useful gym questions. What are you training today? The person might answer, back and biceps. You can respond, nice, I'm training legs today. Or, I'm doing chest and shoulders. You may also hear, what are you hitting today? This is more informal. Here, hitting means training a particular muscle group. I'm hitting legs today. But if you're unsure, use, what are you training today? It's clear and natural. Another easy topic is asking about someone's routine. How many days a week do you train? Usually 4 or 5. Nice. I'm trying to be more consistent. The word consistent means doing something regularly over time. Now here's an important communication skill. Don't turn the conversation into an interview. If you ask question after question, where are you from? What do you do? How old are you? How long have you been training? The other person may feel uncomfortable. Share information about yourself, too. For example, how long have you been training here? About a year. Nice. I joined 2 months ago. I really like it so far. Now both people are contributing. And remember to notice whether the other person wants to continue. If they remove their headphones, smile, ask you questions, and give longer answers, the conversation is probably welcome. If they give very short answers and immediately return to their workout, let them continue. Good communication isn't only knowing how to start talking. It's also knowing when someone doesn't want to talk. So remember, you don't need a brilliant opening line. Use the environment. Ask a simple question. Make a respectful comment. Listen to the answer. Share something about yourself. And allow the conversation to develop naturally. Because the easiest gym conversations often begin with the simplest words. Busy today, isn't it? What are you training today? How long have you been coming here? One small question, and you've started a real conversation in English. Lesson number 4. What to say when someone starts talking to you at the gym. Sometimes you don't need to start the conversation. Someone else starts it with you. You're resting between sets and someone asks, hey, how many sets do you have left? You understand the question, but suddenly your English disappears. You know what you want to say, you just don't know how to say it naturally. So let's practice. If you have 2 sets left, simply say, I've got 2 more, or 2 more sets. If it's your last set, say, this is my last one. And if you're finished, say, I'm done, it's all yours. Now imagine someone asks, do you mind if I work in? You can answer, not at all, go ahead. Sure, no problem. Or, yeah, that's fine. But be careful with this question. If someone asks, do you mind if I work in? And you say, yes, that can mean you don't want them to work in. English learners sometimes make this mistake. The safest answers are, not at all. Go ahead. Or, sure, no problem. Now let's imagine another situation. Someone says, hey, I see you here all the time. You can respond, yeah, I come here pretty regularly. Then continue naturally. What about you? This simple expression is extremely useful. What about you? It returns the question and keeps the conversation moving. For example, how long have you been training here? About 6 months. What about you? Almost 2 years. Or someone asks, what are you training today? You answer, chest and shoulders. What about you? Legs. Simple conversations don't require long answers, but one-word answers can sometimes make you sound uninterested. Imagine someone asks, how long have you been working out? You say, 3 years, and then you look away. The conversation is probably finished. Instead, you could say, about 3 years. I started training seriously when I was in college. What about you? Now you've given the other person something to respond to. Here's another common situation. Someone gives you a compliment. Nice lift. Your form looks really good. You're getting stronger. How should you respond? Keep it simple. Thanks, I appreciate it. Thanks, I've been working on it. Or, thank you, that means a lot. Don't reject every compliment. If someone says, you're really strong, don't immediately say, no, I'm terrible. Simply accept the compliment politely. Thanks, I appreciate that. Now imagine someone asks for advice. Hey, how do you do this exercise? If you know, you can say, sure, I'll show you. Or, I usually adjust the seat first, then keep my back against the pad. But if you don't know, say so. I'm not really sure. You might want to ask one of the trainers. That's a natural and responsible answer. You don't need to pretend to know everything. Now here's another useful situation. Someone asks, are you using this bench? You answer, yeah, but you can work in if you want. The person says, thanks, I appreciate it. You can respond, no problem, of course, or anytime. Now let's practice a longer conversation. Hey, what are you training today? Back and biceps, what about you? Chest, do you usually come in the evening? Most days, yeah, I come after work. Same here, it's always crowded around this time. I know, sometimes I have to wait forever for a machine. Exactly. Notice how simple that conversation is. Nobody uses advanced vocabulary. Nobody gives a long speech. One person responds, adds a little information, and gives the other person something to continue with. That's the secret. Now here's a useful rule. Answer, add, return. First, answer the question. How long have you been training? About a year. Then add a small detail. I started because I wanted to become more active. Then return the conversation. What about you? This technique can help English learners avoid uncomfortable silence. Answer, add, return. But remember, you don't need to use it every single time. Natural conversation requires variety. Sometimes a short answer is enough. Sometimes you ask a follow-up question. Sometimes you make a comment. The goal is to respond to the person, not follow a formula like a robot. And if you don't understand something someone says, don't pretend. Say, "Sorry, what was that? Could you say that again?" Or, "Sorry, I didn't catch that." These expressions are completely natural. Real communication isn't about understanding every word immediately. It's about knowing how to keep communicating when you don't. So the next time someone starts talking to you at the gym, don't panic. Listen. Answer naturally. Add a little information when it makes sense. Ask something back. And remember, you don't need perfect English to have a successful conversation. You simply need enough English to keep the interaction moving. Lesson number 5. Ending gym conversations politely and handling real gym communication. Starting a conversation is important. Keeping it going is useful. But there's another communication skill English learners often forget: knowing how to end the conversation. Imagine you're talking to someone at the gym. The conversation is friendly. You've been talking for a few minutes. But now, you want to continue your workout. You don't want to be rude. So, what do you say? One of the easiest expressions is, "All right, I'll let you get back to your workout." This is polite and natural. It means you understand the other person is at the gym to exercise, and you're ending the conversation respectfully. The person might respond, "Yeah, you too. Nice talking to you." And you can say, "You too. See you around." See you around is useful when you expect to see someone again, but you don't know exactly when. Let's hear the full conversation. "How long have you been training here?" "About a year. I really like this gym." "Yeah, me too. The equipment is great." "Definitely." "All right, I'll let you get back to your workout." "Thanks. Nice talking to you." "You too. See you around." Simple, friendly, natural. Now imagine you've finished resting and need to start your next set. You can say, "Anyway, I should get back to my workout." Or, "I'd better finish my workout." The expression, "I'd better," means you think you should do something now. For example, "I'd better get going." "I'd better finish my last few sets." Here's another situation. You're talking to someone, but they're speaking for a long time. You don't want to interrupt rudely. Wait for a natural pause and say, "Well, it was nice talking to you. I'm going to finish my workout." That's clear and polite. You don't need to invent an excuse. Now let's talk about leaving the gym. You see someone you've spoken to before. You can say, "Have a good workout." "Enjoy the rest of your workout." "See you next time." Or simply, "Take care." If someone is leaving before you, you might say, "Have a good one." This is a casual expression meaning, "Have a good day." You may hear it frequently in everyday English. Now here's another important situation. You meet someone regularly at the gym. You've had several conversations. You want to introduce yourself. You can say, "By the way, I'm Daniel. I don't think we've officially met." The person might respond, "I'm Adam. Nice to meet you." "Nice to meet you too." The expression, "by the way," is useful when you want to introduce a new topic naturally. Maybe you want to ask someone's name. You can say, "By the way, I didn't catch your name." This doesn't necessarily mean they already told you their name. It's simply a natural way to ask. Now imagine you don't understand some gym vocabulary. Someone says, "I'm doing a superset." You can ask, "Sorry, what does superset mean?" Or, "I'm not familiar with that expression. What does it mean?" Don't feel embarrassed. Asking questions is part of real communication. Here's another conversation. "Are you hitting legs today?" "Sorry, what do you mean by hitting legs?" "Oh, I mean, are you training legs today?" "Got it. Yeah, I am." Notice what happened. You didn't understand. You asked. The person explained. The conversation continued. That's successful communication. Now let's bring together everything we've learned. You walk into the gym. You need a machine. Excuse me, are you using this? The person is still training. How many sets do you have left? You want to share the machine. Can I work in with you? You need help. Could you spot me? You don't understand the equipment. Could you show me how this works? You want to start a conversation. What are you training today? Someone speaks to you. You answer, add a little information, and ask something back when it feels natural. You don't understand. Sorry, I didn't catch that. And when you're ready to leave? All right, I'll let you get back to your workout. Nice talking to you. That's real gym communication. You don't need hundreds of expressions. You need a small number of useful sentences and the confidence to use them. Remember, English isn't only something you study. It's something you use to solve problems. Ask questions, request help, understand other people, start conversations, and create connections. The next time you're at the gym and someone speaks English, don't wait for the perfect sentence. Use what you know. Keep it simple. Listen carefully and respond naturally, because every small conversation is practice. And every time you use English in a real situation, you become a little more comfortable, a little more confident, and a little closer to speaking English naturally. So keep practicing, keep speaking, and I'll see you in the next lesson.